Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavad-gita chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, text number 7. Chidatmana prasantasya Paramatma samahita Shitoshna sukadukeshu Tatamana pamanayo Chidatmana prasantasya Paramatma samahita Shitoshna sukadukeshu Tatamana pamanayo. Prasantasya Amanapanayo Chitatmana prasantasya Paramatma tasya sahita Shitoshna sukadukeshu Tapama pamanayo. Ladies. Chitatmana prasantasya Paramatma samahita Shitoshna sukadukeshu Tatamana pamanayo. It's Monday, so 2 ladies can chant today. Chitatmana prasantasya Paramatma samahita Shitoshna sukadukeshu Tatamana pamanayo. Jita atmaha, of one who's conquered his mind. Prasantasya, one who has attained tranquility by such control over the mind. Parama Atma, the super soul. Samahita, approach completely. Shita, in cold. Ushna, heat. Sukha, happiness. Dukkha, dukkeshu, and distress. Tata, also. Mana, in honor. Apamanayo, and dishonor. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who has conquered the mind, the super soul is reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Purport: actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. When the mind is misled by the external, illusory energy, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one should be considered to have already reached the destination. One has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no alternative but to follow the dictation of the Super Supreme. the mind must emit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramatma or Supersoul, because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Krishna consciousness. The devotee of the Lord is unaffected by the dualities of material existence, namely distress and happiness, cold and heat. This state is practical samadhi, or absorption in the Supreme. Shitatmana prasantasya paramatma samahita shitoshna sukadukeshu tatamana pamanayo. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Siddharane. Srila Prabhupada once said in a lecture that there's a transcendental television within our heart. And there's a channel called Channel Krishna. And in that channel, on that channel, there are different names and forms and qualities and pastimes and associates of Krishna. So we can watch that channel, and if we don't watch that channel, then our heart is tuned into another channel. And there's the mode of ignorance on one channel, the mode of passion on another channel, and the mode of goodness on another channel. Most people only tune into ignorance and passion, those channels. They like watching those channels. They don't know about the Krishna channel, and they hardly believe in the mode of goodness channel. But we have possibilities which channel to turn onto, but we have to know how to turn onto those channels and what to watch on the channel. So that's the science of Krishna consciousness. Now, the material channels of ignorance and passion are not very, well, they're full of misery, desire, hankering, etc., and they always achieve the same thing, a lot of suffering. A little bit of nectar and a lot of suffering. Now the channel Krishna, unless we can actually tune off on the other channels, stop switching back and forth between them, it's like trying to light a fire and at the same time pour water on it. So we keep on switching back and forth between the channel Krishna and the other channels of ignorance and passion and even goodness, but especially ignorance and passion. Then we never really fully enter into the channel. We never fully pay attention to the Krishna channel, and therefore we sometimes mistake it to be similar to the other channels. Now, this channel is called a virtual reality, ignorance and passion. It's not real in the sense that it's only temporary, and the forms are always changing. Everything's changing in ignorance and passion. Even goodness is maybe a little bit more stable, but it's also changing. And therefore, as Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, Mamupeti punarjanma dukhaliyam ashasadam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. Those mam upetya punar, one who's obtained me, mam upet punarjanma, janma punar, he never takes birth again. Mam upetya punarjanma dukhaliyam ashasadam, because his material world is temporary and is full of misery. Shasvatam. Napnuvanti mahatmana. So the great souls, mamupeti punarjanma dukhaliyam shasvatam, napnuvanti mahatmana, samsiddhim paramam, because they obtain the highest destination. In other words, although we're engaged in sadhana bhakti, and the attempt is to concentrate the mind upon Krishna, in the proper spirit. In other words, in the proper mood. If we take our mood of material ignorance and passion and we apply it to Krishna consciousness, we don't enter very deep. In other words, we're chanting japa and we're disturbed and we're going, oh, Krishna, I'm suffering. Well, Krishna is not suffering. Therefore, Krishna says, Masuchaha, sarva dharam prachaja, mame kam sharanam raja, ahang twang sarapa pevyo, mokshisyami masuchaha. Give up all varieties of religion. Now, everyone has some kind of religion. Religion is what we think is real, that will actually get us to some kind of goal. And every goal has a person behind it, encouraging us, some example of what we think is perfection. In the modes of ignorance, as it says, Mahajano yena kata sabhanda, tarako patishta shutiya vibhina, desavri shir yasyanabhinam, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam, Mahajano yena kata sabhanda. People are arguing, tarka apratishta. They're arguing about so many things. The whole idea is basically where to find peace and happiness. So people are arguing, getting all upset, how to find peace and happiness, which is kind of contradictory. Because they never reach a conclusion, therefore they never find out how to actually become peaceful and happy. But as it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's possible to actually discuss things like Lord Chaitanya was discussing with the Digvijay Pandit, and he defeated him. Because his knowledge was so clear and perfect that even the Digvijay Pandit had to admit he was defeated. Nowadays, people are mostly fools, one fool arguing with the other fool. They have no real knowledge. They just argue because they enjoy it. This vitanda. They enjoy this arguing. They want the material world means we've come here to become supreme. So if I can defeat someone by hook or crook, then I feel good. Or as it said that in Africa, in South Africa, there's a tribe there, and they think that if I'm alive, I'm good, and if you're dead, you're bad. So if I kill you, you're bad. So I'm good because I'm still alive. Simple philosophy. Doesn't take long to learn it. So similarly, if I defeat you, I'm good. I feel good. And if I get defeated, I feel bad. But there's no conclusion. There's no progress. There's no betterment. I don't cultivate my mind so that actually I develop qualities that will make me be able to become peaceful and happy in this world. No, it's just fighting for the sake of fighting. Tarka pratishtha shutaya vibhina. And one will study so many different books, but never come to a conclusion either. Learn so many different things. There are different stages of agya, as Krishna says. Shraddha, when he talks about what actually is knowledge, he says, Shradhavan labhate jnanam tat parasamatendriya jnana labdha param shantim achrena digachiti. That a faithful person, in other words, real faith is established when we realize something that's real, that's eternal. And if we don't realize something that's eternal, then our faith is all just in the modes of ignorance and passion, and it's meaningless. We're just wasting our time. If we don't realize we're eternal, we can't be happy. If we can't be peaceful, if we can't be peaceful, Krishna says, where is there any question of happiness? So anyone who's studying things that are not based upon the absolute truth, they can't lead to at least peacefulness, some real knowledge that's true consistently, then one is wasting one's time. You learn something today, tomorrow it's found out it was wrong. So what's the sense of learning it today if tomorrow you're going to find out it was wrong? You can go on for millions of years, 80, and still never find out what's right. You only find out what's wrong. That's science, minus science. just wasting their time. And the result is they discover things, Krishna says, horrible, unbeneficial things meant to destroy the world. They have great book. They have so many books of knowledge, so many institutions of knowledge, and they're producing crazy demons. That's all they're producing. Puffed up, crazy demons. Inventing things to make everyone unhappy, to disturb everyone. And Shudya Nasavari Shiryasyana Bina. There are no rishis nowadays. They don't even know that they're not their body. There's just a bunch of fools talking in such ways that no one understands them, so people think they must be learned because no one can understand what they're talking about. They don't understand what they're talking about either. But they put on a show, and therefore they're considered to be learned. As Prabhupada was talking to one professor, he came to visit him in Detroit. He was a professor of Indology. So he asked Prabhupada, he's a professor of Indian philosophy. So he asked Prabhupada, what is Indology? What is Hinduism? So Prabhupada said, you're a professor of Hinduism, Indology, and you're asking me what it means? So he asked Swarup Damodar, who also was a PhD, he said, Swarup Damodar, this man is a professor of Hinduism at a big university, and he doesn't know what Hinduism means. So what do you call that? So Swarup Damodar said, he's a cheater, Prabhupada. He's a cheater. Big professor, but they're just cheating. They don't know what they're talking about. He's less than a student. At least the students, they know that they don't know anything. He's a fool, but he thinks he knows something. So, Mahajano Yena Kata Sabhanta, Tarko Pratishta Shrutiya Vibhina, Nistavarishya Yasyana Binam, Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Gu. So real religion is hid in the heart of a self-realized person. In other words, one who actually knows the truth can actually express it. That's the self-realized. How do you tell a self-realized person? Because they know the truth and they know how they express it. So we can understand if someone is not talking about Brahman, if someone is not talking about Paramatma, if someone is not talking about Bhagavan, they're just wasting our time. Or at least the means to approach them, at least that's something productive. But if they have no idea what the goal is or how to approach it, it's just a waste of time. They propose that any yoga system, if it helps to control the mind, then it's a valid yoga system. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. And Mahajano Yena Kata Sabhanta. So everyone has chosen a Mahatma. Everyone has chosen someone, they're following them. It's not possible not to choose a leader or leaders and follow them. But most people have only choosing leaders like Hiranyakashipu, the modern day Hiranyakashipus in the mode of ignorance, Kamsas, Ravanas. Those are the main leaders in society nowadays. Meat eaters, all kinds of illicit activities, sinful activities. These are the modern leaders. So then the society is wondering, when are we going to become happy and peaceful? When are you going to start going north if you start going south? It's going to take a long time. If you're going in the wrong direction, they're following blind leaders, and therefore they all get simply into problems. People in the modes of ignorance and passion, all they're going to do is produce misery. And yet people are thinking that somehow or another these blind leaders who are the bigger hogs, dogs, and asses than we are, they're going to save us. No, they're not going to save anyone. Therefore, there's a science of how to become peaceful. There's a science of becoming happy. And unless we recognize the super soul, who's the guide to bring us to that platform, and his external representatives as Guru, Sadhana, and Shastra, we're just completely wasting our time. Shravam evi kevalam. Their hopes of liberation, their fruitive activities, and the culture of knowledge will be all defeated. If they don't know the goal is Krishna, they're just wasting their time. They're going to be defeated. Krishna in some aspect, even Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, but it's not a choice. If you want to become peaceful and happy, it's the only option. Therefore, as it will be explained in this chapter, because Krishna explains things progressively. But here he's simply marked about controlling the mind. And what does controlling the mind mean? It means when the mind is not influenced by Trividha Narakasyedam, Dwaram Nashitamatmanaha, Kama Krodha Tata Lobhas, Tasmad Etam Trayam Jaya. There are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should become free from these gates because they lead to the degradation of the self. Now, in the previous verses to this, Krishna he kind of discourages us from lust, anger, and greed. Now, how many people in modern society are being discouraged from lust, anger, and greed? People think that this is the goal of life. Gratify the senses unlimitedly. But Krishna says, Tanaham Dvishita Kuram Samsresha Naradamam Shi Pramajasramashubam Asri Sheva Yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous are the lowest among men. I cast them into the lower species of life. Asram Yonam Apanam Mura Janmani Mama Prapyaiva Kundiya Tito Yantiyanamam Gitim. Obtaining such lower species of life, they gradually sink down to the most abominable existence, and therefore they can never attain me. So it's not an option. Krishna consciousness is not just one of the many options that people can dedicate. It's the only option if people want to become happy and peaceful. And if people want to suffer and go to hell, into the lowest species of life, there's plenty of opportunity. As one student raised her hand one time in a class that probably was giving at a university and said, Swamiji, you say that if I act like a dog, I'm going to become a dog in my next lifetime. But I want you to know that I don't mind if I become a dog. I want to become a dog. So Prabhupada raised his hand and said, you have my blessings. So, there is, from a sane person, an intelligent person, a sober person, one should understand the enemy, as Krishna says, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Raju, how to get free from these. The lower modes of nature, ignorance and passion, lust, anger, greed, how to get free from it? Etan Vimuksha Kontiya, Tamo Dvara Shrivinara, Achrat Yadamashriyas, Tato Yati Paramgiti. That a person who gets free from these activities performs activities which are conducive to self-realization, and thus he attains the supreme destination. So what are those activities? Yakshastra vidim usrija vartate kamakarata nasasidim avapnoti nasukam naparamgiti. The one who gives up Shastra and acts whimsically, according to lust, anger, and greed, attains neither peace nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So Shastra, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te, Karma Karo, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te, Karya Karyastito, Gyatva Shastram Vidanokta, Karma Karta Miharasi. One should know what's to be done and what's not to be done by the directions of Scripture. Knowing such rules, one should act so that one can gradually become purified. So Scripture is not some kind of mental speculation based upon some sentiment. Real Scripture tells you about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, which are absolute realities. And anything besides that doesn't lead to that absolute reality, even if it's karma yoga or jnana yoga or astanga yoga, whatever yoga, is just completely, will take one into the lowest species of life. eventually. Now, if there's any goodness left in the world, it's not because it just appeared out of nothing. It's because people followed the scriptures in some previous lifetime. Therefore, they have some good karma left. But they're using it up rapidly. And therefore, things are becoming more and more degraded. And the only hope is to distribute Prabhupada's books, chant the holy name on the street, convince people that actually this gratification of the senses is not the goal of life. The senses have to be gratified, but not unlimitedly, and whimsically. They have to be done according to the Shastric injunctions. One should know what the goal of life is. If we want to become peaceful, otherwise, read the newspaper, see how many people are peaceful in the world nowadays. See if they're progressing towards peace. The President of the United States, he goes, meets with the other leaders, with this leader from Russia. He's always coming back and say, peace in our time. And then you find out he didn't do anything. The war is only getting worse. He just, because he has no idea how to achieve peace. He doesn't come back and say, myself and the leader of Russia, we decided to stop killing the cows. They'll never say that. We're closing all the brothels, all the places of intoxication, so we can have peace. No, they have no idea what peace is and how to attain it. What to speak of happiness. They're all miserable because they're sinful. They're being burned by the illusory energy. Therefore, Shadavan Labate Jnanam Tapra Samatendriya Jnana Lava Pram Shantim Acharena. The faithful person. People have no faith. They're completely faithless. Even these semi-religious religions, which have no idea of karma or reincarnation, they have no idea what, even these semi-religious people, they say, I'm such and such religion, but they don't even follow. Maybe they go on Christmas, get some photographs taken, that they were in church sometime. Otherwise, they have no reference to religion. Did you ever hear a speech by a politician nowadays with any kind of reference to religion? Of course, they're not completely animalistic. I heard some talk about, what is she? She's the president of Slovenia? Is that what it is? She's the president? Kind of an honorary post or something? She was talking that wasn't a good idea to just genocide in Gaza. It wasn't a good idea just to go in there and just kill people indiscriminately. So, that's considered highly moral nowadays. Kind of like some kind of novel understanding of how people should act. You shouldn't just go around just killing people unnecessarily. So that's considered highly moral nowadays. Saying controversial things like that. Some people clapped in the audience, some people were sitting there. Why is she spoiling our lives for? Because they look at everything and just like, they think everything, people are just like insects. You take out your can of insecticide and you just spray them. So that's the state of consciousness that people are in, because they have no idea they have no idea of reality. And Scripture is not some kind of sentimental book. It is reality. It's the only reality. And all this communication that's going on, it's all nescience. We're selling a few books, not so many, and Amazon is selling millions of books, billions of books, of nescience. Of course, some of it may be a little bit spiritual or whatever, may lead to the goal, but the majority of it is complete nonsense. So the point is, at least we should understand what is reality, so we can aim towards it. Otherwise, we might get caught up. thinking that people are actually happy in this world. They painted the house, they must be happy. It's so superficial. So I'll stop there. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Hare Krišna Maharaj. So in the beginning you were talking about this transcendental television,
Yeah.
and I was just wondering, because we're so used to this channel of ignorance and passion, even though we may sometimes turn to the Krishna television, how to stop this? We immediately fall back to the ignorance and passion, so how to stop this switching?
Well, we have to have a regular sadhana. And then gradually, Visha vinivartante nirharasideyanam rasavarjam rasopyasya brahm drishva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains, but ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, one becomes fixed in consciousness. So the point is that when we're performing sadhana, make some effort to concentrate the mind on just hearing in a happy, joyful mood. Then if we experience Krishna's presence in His holy name, it's a higher taste, it's a whole different level of experience, then we'll become less attracted to the other things. Prabhupada said, just like when you have a fan going around, if you pull the plug, then the fan may keep on going, but eventually it'll slow down and stop. So if we stop indulging in sinful activities, and we engage in Krishna service, and gradually this spinning of the fan will, when the plug is pulled, then it'll gradually stop.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Hare Krishna, because you made this point that the more educated people they are, the more sinful and degraded they actually are. So
Well, that's what Sri Upanishad says. That if you have a serpent, a cobra, if you put a nice jewel on its forehead, it's still as venomous as it was before. It becomes more poisonous.
So does it mean that we should more or less preach to maybe less educated persons or less?
It depends on your power of preaching. I mean, most people don't go. If you preach to someone who actually believes they know everything, it's very hard to tell them anything, especially us. It's like that story of the boatman and the scholar. The boatman was taking the scholar down the Ganges, and the scholar says, "Do you know the names of all the stars?" He asked the boatman. He said, "I'm just an uneducated boatman. I don't know any of the names of the stars. 25% of your life is wasted. You know then he saw all the trees and fauna on the bank. Do you know the names of these trees and all these different?" He said, "No, I'm just an uneducated boatman." Then the storm came up and it started to rain, and the boatman asked the scholar, "Do you know how to swim?" So he said, "No." He said, "Well, 100% of your life is wasted." When the boat filled up with water, and the scholar was in the water, he couldn't swim, 100% of his life was wasted. So you have to see who will listen to us. It's very hard to talk to anyone and convince about anything if they don't listen to you. It's impossible. So if they have no respect for us, why will they listen? So I have to find people who listen, and educated or uneducated. See if they'll listen. And if they hear, for instance, your body is changing, we're not changing, then if they're a little intelligent, a tiny bit, they'll appreciate this is real knowledge. It may change their lives just by telling them that. Prabhupada said if you light a match in a dark room, the darkness can't put the match out. So people may be in complete darkness, but if they'll listen, they'll actually get out of the darkness, because his knowledge. What was that verse you, Krishna, let's see. No, that's Krishna, Krishna. Now the Krishna is left.
Krishna Sudama Bhagavate.
Yeah, Krishna Sudama Bhagavate. Jnana Dharma Dibi Saha Kalo Nashta Drisham Esha Puranarko Dunodita. So Krishna left, the world becomes full of irreligion and ignorance. But the Bhagavatam is there. And those who listen to the Bhagavatam, they'll get light from this Purana. Anything else? Kvala Grantaraj Bhagavad-gita ki jai.
Yes.